Hi everyone, my name is Yamila Trinidad, and for my Humanities Edge undergrad research project, I investigated the repatriation debate regarding the Parthenon Marbles, also known as the Elgin Marbles, between Greece and the British Museum. Throughout this presentation, I'll discuss the Elgin Marbles history, various arguments between Greece and the British Museum, classification of those arguments, celebrity endorsements, and my personal reflection. To start off, the Elgin Marbles are a collection of ancient Greek sculptures from the Parthenon Temple at Athens, Greece. Travelers can currently view these marble sculptures in the British Museum. However, Greece has been requesting the return of these sculptures. The term repatriation that I briefly mentioned before means the return of artifacts to the countries of origins. Before I jump into the history of the sculptures, I first wanted to share those who favor the repatriation of the Parthenon marbles. Hollywood actors such as George Clooney, Matt Damon, and Bill Murray have voiced their opinions about this debate. Also, Amal Clooney and her British law firm worked with Greece to restore the sculptures, but Greece decided to let them go. The 2018 Marvel Cinematic Universe film Black Panther raised concerns over the British Museum's acquisition practices. Lastly, the British for the unification of the Parthenon marbles also supports the Greek government efforts to return the Elgin marbles. Now, I will discuss the history of the marbles and why they are at the British Museum. So, just like I mentioned before, the Elgin marbles are a collection of various types of marble architectural decorations from the Temple of Athena, the Parthenon, on the Acropolis in Athens, Greece. It was built in honor of the goddess of wisdom, Athena. This collection was constructed during the 5th century by a Greek sculptor named Phidias. It contained 3 portions, such as frieze, metopies, and the pediment. A British ambassador to Ottoman Empire named Lord Elgin was responsible for removing most of the marbles from Greece. For almost 4 centuries, the Ottoman Empire controlled Greece until the Greek War of Independence ended the rule in 1830. So, with the permission of the Ottoman Empire, Lord Elgin shipped them to the United Kingdom. Now, I'll discuss a few cultural property treaties. After World War II, countries worldwide ratified an international organization called the United Nations, promoting peace and security. A branch within the United Nations called the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization created the first treaty called the Hue Convention for the Protection of Cultural Property in the Event of Armed Conflict in 1954. This treaty just states that military forces must protect, not destroy or steal cultural property such as books, monuments, and others. However, this treaty only applies to cultural properties taken after this convention was established, after 1954. As of February 2014, about 130 countries have signed this treaty, including the United Kingdom. Then, in 1970, UNESCO established an international treaty titled Convention of the Means of Prohibiting and Protecting the Explicit Import, Export, and Transfer of Ownership of Cultural Property. This treaty stated that it is forbidden to trade looted artifacts. Now I'll discuss the various arguments by Greece and the British Museum. Firstly, Greece believes that the British Museum should return the Elgin marbles because the sculptures are a vital element of Greek heritage. The sculptures were illegally acquired by the British Museum. The sculptures will be best preserved in the Acropolis Museum, and the sculptures have been damaged during the tender in the British Museum. However, the British Museum argues that the sculptures should remain in their institution because their museum has the legal right to own the marbles. Their organization is a universal museum, and the sculptures are best preserved in their institution. After I read over 30 articles about these arguments, I decided to classify the arguments into 3 categories, such as legal, cultural, and preservation. Firstly, I'll discuss the legal argument. The original Turkish document is currently missing, so with help from a member of Lord Elgin's team named Reverend Philip Hunt, the British Museum created Italian-English translation of the original format. A format is a term used to describe the Ottoman legal document. Using these translations, the British Museum validates the activities that Lord Elgin was allowed to do. However, Greece argues that these translations may not be a reliable guide in validating Lord Elgin's actions. So, since the original document is missing, it is unknown what tasks allowed Lord Elgin to engage on the Acropolis land. Now, let's discuss the cultural argument. Greece believes in cultural nationalism, which focuses on a nation's values. However, the British Museum believes in cultural internationalism, which states that cultural properties belong to all humankind. Cultural nationalism helps ease forgotten qualities in countries arguing for repatriation. The British Museum's mission is to educate people worldwide on Greek heritage. The British Museum is home to millions of artworks, and travelers worldwide can learn and appreciate other cultures. Now, I'm going to discuss the preservation argument. Greece created the Acropolis Museum in counter to British Museum's claim of a lack of a stable museum in Greece. Greece also argues the 1937 through 1938 cleaning scandal in the British Museum, where they used wire brushes to whiten the sculptures as they removed detail. Greece also points out that since one of Lord Elgin's ships sank, the sculptures received damage while they were underwater for about 2 years, under the British Museum control. However, the British Museum argues that Greece is not financially stable to preserve the sculptures. They also argue the environmental conditions that damaged the sculptures in Greece, such as acid rain and polluted air. Lastly, I will discuss my reflection on this subject. So, researching this controversial topic allowed me to acknowledge both parties' various perspectives. I also began to understand why there's not a solid solution to this issue. At the beginning stages of my research, I had difficulty finding journal articles supporting Greece in this debate and journal articles written by Greek scholars. I aim to continue studying more controversial topics within the visual arts and humanities industry. And lastly, I want to say thank you to Dr. Barsoni, Ms. Richardson, my family and friends in the Humanities Edge undergrad research program for all of their support and assistance. If you'd like to contact me, my email is shown below, as well as my online art portfolio. Thank you so much.